Students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about the topic of second practical. That is a topic which is going to be covered in second and third practical. This PPT which I am going to share with you people is basically consisting the material for both practicals. I will discuss just the part which will be covered in second practical, and then in the next week we are going to cover the remaining portion. Similarly, I have prepared a worksheet for you people consisting of the micrographs with all the questions pertaining to the topics which will be covered in this session and in next practical session as well. So basically these two practicals are going to cover about the histological features of cardiovascular system. This system consisting of a pump, heart, and then it consisting of tubular structures, blood vessels, which are actually carrying the blood from this pumping organ towards the tissue and from tissues back towards the heart. And another part of this cardiovascular system includes the lymphatics, but we are not going to discuss the histological details in the practical sessions. So the practical objectives or the learning outcomes of these two practicals are actually that you people will be able to identify the histological details of the walls of the heart and how many walls are or the layers are there in the wall of the heart and what are the various histological structures which are making up those walls, and similarly the arteries and veins which are actually the tubular structures carrying the blood to and from the heart towards the periphery. They are actually made up of multiple layers, and then those layers detailed will be discussed in the practicals, and you people have to identify those details. So starting with this basic introduction, that the mammalian blood vascular system consisting of heart, major arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, and veins, and we are going to look at these structures individually, how they are made up of at the microscopic level. Starting with the heart, the wall of heart is actually made up of three layers, and from the chamber side, the heart actually consisting of four chambers, the atria, then the ventricles. The wall of the heart in any of these chambers actually is made up of three layers, namely endocardium, myocardium, and epicardium. So they are basically schematically described here. The blue line is indicating the innermost layer, that is endocardium, and then this pinkish portion which is delineated by this large arrow is myocardium, and then the outermost layer is epicardium. So we are going to look into detail of these layers individually first. If we are going to discuss about the endocardium is the innermost layer. It is actually made, as we have already discussed, that whatsoever the organ in body is having a lumen or chamber part, the first part or the first layer of that particular organ is always going to be the epithelium itself. You people must have gone through the tubular structures general histology. There you have must have gone through about the four basic layers. The first layer was tunicum mucosa. I am not going to discuss their detail here. That is more theoretical, but the thing to discuss here that the tunicum mucosa always have the first part as epithelium. Similarly, in heart, the innermost layer, which is lining the chamber endocardium, always have the first part as epithelium, and that epithelium is actually named in cardiovascular system as endothelium, and that endothelium is actually a type of simple squamous epithelium. Below this simple squamous epithelium there is subendothelial connective tissue in some text, then the underlying connective tissue also termed as The below the connective tissue below endothelium is subendothelial, and below that there is again a connective tissue layer as subendocardial layer. But we are just going to summarize that layer as simply subendocardial layer. So keep this in mind that the endocardium in some text will be described as the endothelium underlying subendothelial connective tissue, and then they are separately describing that third part, subendocardial layer, that there is a separate connective tissue layer below endocardium as the name indicates, but we are just going to describe it as part of endocardium. And the important thing, the impulse conducting system of the heart is located in this subendocardial layer of connective tissue. What is that conducting system? We are just going to discuss it with detail in coming slides, and we will then identify. The major objective is to identify. So looking at this more magnified micrograph, the left side of this micrograph is the side where the chamber of the heart, it could be atria or ventricle, was located, and from the wall this portion was taken out, and in the very first part, which is facing the chamber side, there is a continuous layer of flattened squamous epithelial cells. This first arrow is indicating that layer. This layer is simple squamous epithelium named here as endothelium, and then below that this loosely arranged fibrous part of the layer is subendocardial connective tissue. So these two layers are collectively forming the first layer of the heart, which is endocardium. Moving towards the conducting portion, the conducting impulse conducting system of the heart actually consists of Purkinje fibers. You must have gone through the word Purkinje cells in nervous tissue, but here it is a separate thing. So you must remember that the Purkinje fibers are nothing else but modified cardiac muscles. These modified cardiac muscles are larger in size than the normal cardiac cells or cardiac myocytes. The important thing, their staining property is very light compared to the actual cardiac cells which are present in the middle layer of the heart, myocardium. So these Purkinje fibers, which are large size cardiac muscle cells, lightly stained cells, are part of conducting fibers. They are not contracting fibers. Actually, they are impulse conducting fibers. They are present in subendocardial connective tissue. So just looking at the Purkinje fibers, here is again the upper part of this micrograph is indicating a chamber part, and the first layer of the heart wall is again, you must have recognized now that it is flattened simple squamous epithelium. Below that, this is subendocardial connective tissue, the second arrow, and then in this connective tissue, these large size cells, just compare their size and staining affinity from the remaining lower part of the micrographic cardiac myocytes, which are actually part of the next layer of the wall of the heart, which is myocardium. So these subendocardial modified cardiac muscle cells termed as Purkinje fibers are larger in size compared to the cardiac muscle cells, remaining cardiac muscle cells, which are the contractile units of the heart, and their staining affinity is quite evident in this micrograph. They are less lightly stained. The reason behind for the less light staining or lightly staining of these Purkinje fibers, simply because they are not the contracting units, they are conducting units, so they must have less amount of the proteins, contractile proteins. So the less amount of contractile proteins in their cytoplasm is giving the cytoplasmic staining the lighterness. Again, next micrograph where the E arrow is indicating the endothelium. So this must be the first layer. Above that, there would be chamber size. Then subendocardial connective tissue is labeled as SE. And within this connective tissue, These large cross-sectional profiles are actually the modified types of cardiac muscle cells. These are the conducting fibers, and these conducting fibers are actually the Purkinje fibers. And you can compare the difference in their size with the remaining cardiac cells, which are actually the part of the myocardium, indicated by the letter M here. Moving onwards towards the middle layer of the heart, which is actually the thickest of the three layers. Remember this thing, that this layer is thickest. And if we compare this middle layer thickness in different compartments or chambers of the heart, so the wall of the ventricles are more thick, so there will be we will be having more thicker myocardium compared to the wall of the atria. The reason behind, you must have logically understood that the ventricles have to contract more forcefully, so their wall must have more contractile units, which are cardiac cells. And in the first micrograph, which we have repeated for the third time till now you must have a layer indicated by the word M. This is myocardium, and here you can see the cross-sectional profiles of cardiac muscle cells. And in previous semester, where we were discussing the cardiac cells as the muscular tissue, in cross-sectional profile, you must have gone through their individual features in the cross-section, that their nucleus is central, and around nucleus in certain profile you can see perinuclear sarcoplasm, empty space. So this is going to help you out to locate the cardiac muscle cells where they are present in their cross section. And in next micrograph, you must be visualizing the longitudinal section, and between them the capillaries with lots of RBCs there, and the arrowheads are actually indicating the junctional complexes between two adjacent cardiac myocytes, which we identified in the previous semester as intercalated discs. So this micrograph is actually no more magnified part. This cardiac myograph is actually indicating the myocardium portion, magnified portion of the middle layer. And here you can identify the longitudinal profiles of cardiac muscle cells. And in this micrograph, again, these are the cross-sectional profile, just to give you the review. Here you can compare these Purkinje cells present on the arrow with the remaining portion of the myocardium. Epicardium. This is the outermost layer. You must have gone through there is a pericardial sac. Pericardium. Just look at this very clear demonstration, schematic diagram, or pericardial sac is there around the heart. Just look at these two layers of this balloon, one which is adjacent to the fists of that individual, and then we have a gap between them, air space, and then we have the outer layer of this balloon. Similarly, the pericardium, which is covering the heart, the atria and ventricles, and present till the roots of the emerging blood vessels from the heart, this sac is consisting of two layers. So we are more concerned with the layer which is adjacent to the heart, and that layer is visceral pericardium, which is also termed as serous pericardium. So this serous pericardium or visceral pericardium is actually the epicardium itself. If we look at the components of this layer, just to discuss them quickly, it is again consisting of a simple squamous epithelial cells, which will be labeled as mesothelium here, and towards heart, below the simple squamous mesothelial cells, there will be a small amount of connective tissue, which will be labeled as subepicardial layer of connective tissue. And actually, this is subepicardial layer, which contains all the blood vessels, nerves, and surrounding adipose tissue, which is adjacent to the heart. Now, again, a micrograph where you can demonstrate the three layers of the heart wall. Superficially, there is simple squamous epithelium. There are a lot of RBCs. This is the side which is facing the chamber. And just to quickly go towards the other side, here is again simple squamous epithelium, a single layer of flattened cells. So this is mesothelium, part of the epicardium. This is endothelium, part of the endocardium. Below them, the endocardial layer epithelial, there is the connective tissue, subendocardial connective tissue, and here you can see lots of fat cells, blood vessels in the shape of a capillary here, just on the pointer. So this connective tissue component, blood vessels, are present in subepicardial connective tissue layer. Below these two connective tissue layers, the middle part is always the thickest part of the wall, which consists of lots of cardiac myocytes, cardiac muscles. So hope you must have gone through the overview of the three layers. Now just to give you an overview, a schematic diagram which is going to help us in the next micrograph. There is a piece of heart taken, and if you look at this piece from inside, the innermost layer has to be endocardium, the inner layer, and then the thickest of the three layers, and anywhere wherever you are going to take the piece of heart, either from atria or ventricle, the thickest layer is myocardium, the muscular layer, and then the outside there is the pinkish line indicating the simple squamous epithelium, and then the yellowish area is indicating the subepicardial connective tissue. Below these two components, the epithelium, mesothelial component, and the subepicardial connective tissue are collectively forming the outermost protective layer, the visceral pericardium, named as epicardium. So now just the piece taken out is going to help you out. So this is the luminal side of the actual micrograph. On the luminal side, now just follow the arrow. You must have seen bulging nuclei, a single layer cells which are connective, forming a continuous layer, having a bulge which is toward the chamber side. This is the endothelium. Below endothelium, there is a small amount of connective tissue. This part must be taken from the atria because the atrial walls compared to the ventricles are quite thin. So this middle portion, where there are different profiles, longitudinal as well as cross-sectional profiles, this thicker part of the layer is myocardium, made up of cardiac muscle cells, and then just outside there is mesothelium in the shape of again a simple squamous epithelium, and then this connective tissue part, these two subepicardial connective tissue and mesothelium is collectively forming the epicardium, which we have just elaborated in this previous slide in this particular area. So moving onward, this is an anatomical division which is going to help us out to basically look at the micrograph which I have just taken from your book, the Forest Atlas, to give you a more elaborative view. These are the atrias, and then we have the cuspid valve, bicuspid and tricuspid valve, and then the ventricles. No, just looking at this component, schematic diagram is again clear cut, indicating that the wall of the atrium is very thin compared to the wall of ventricle. Similarly, and if we compare the ventricular walls, the wall of right ventricle is thin compared to the wall of left ventricle. So this light blue area is the area from where the next micrograph is actually taken out, as indicated by the arrow with a digit 1. So you must have to concentrate on this figure, that this particular schematic diagram is actually present on the next micrograph. So what is in this particular area? A small portion of atria, a portion of ventricle, left ventricle visible, and then a cusp of the bicuspid wall present between left atria and left ventricle, which will be there. So the red line here is indicating the first layer, which is endocardium. The pinkish area on this schematic diagram is indicating the myocardium, the middle layer made up of cardiac muscles, and then the outer part is the epicardial part. And in epicardium, you must have gone through that there are coronary blood vessels. So there is an artery and a vein which are indicated by this yellow area here. They are present in the next micrograph. So with this description of this basic anatomical division, you must have know the basic idea from where the next micrograph is taken. Now just look at this micrograph. Here we have a blood vessel at this particular part. Here we have a vein which is indicated at this particular part, and then this is the atrial wall. Sorry. So this is the atrial wall. Now just concentrate on this atrial wall. There is a continuous simple squamous epithelial layer towards the atrial chamber, endocardium of atrium labeled, and then the outside there is again a continuous layer of simple squamous epithelium, part of epicardium, the mesothelial part. Between them, below epithelium, you must have this lightly stained area as subendocardial connective tissue, and in this particular part, this lightly stained area with lots of blood vessels, this is subepicardial connective tissue, and then between them you have the cardiac muscle part, which is myocardium of the atrium. Now just compare the total thickness of the atrial wall with this part, which is taken from the left ventricle, how thick the ventricular walls are actually. And then just compare the thickness of the myocardium with the myocardial part of the ventricular wall. And between them, you must have a wall part, the cusps of this bicuspid wall. So again, this is a cusp of atrioventricular wall or mitral wall. Just look at this part, that the wall on both sides, the wall part of this wall which is facing the atrial side and the part of the wall which is facing the ventricular side are lined by or is continuous with the endocardium. So there must be simple squamous epithelium. Below that you have on both sides subendocardial connective tissue, but the core of the wall, wherever you are going to look at the walls in the heart, is not muscular. It is actually a dense irregular connective tissue, and this dense irregular connective tissue is the continuation of the annulus fibrosus. This annulus fibrosus is forming a dense irregular connective tissue skeleton, or you can say that this is the part where all the muscles of the ventricles, myocardium, and atrial myocardium have their attachments. This is forming uh, basically fibrous component, and that fibrous component of annular fibrosis is present in the core of the valves. So valve histology is a bit different from the wall component of the atria and ventricles, but this is not going to be asked in very much detail in your practical. Now moving towards the ventricles. No, just look, there are certain labelings, chorda tendineae, these are the anatomical components. The chorda tendineae are the cords which are connecting the valve cusps to the wall of the ventricles. So there is a cord visible here labeled as chorda tendineae, but we are not going to be discussing the papillary muscles and chorda tendineae. These are the components of your anatomy lab. They will be discussed there. If you have gone through that particular part, there must have discussion about this. But looking at this micrograph now, there is very much clear that there is a simple squamous epithelial covering here as endothelium. Then you have subendothelial connective tissue, and here is some particular area where we magnify. If we magnify, we can find Purkinje fibers. We modified the conducting portion of the heart, and then the thick part, which is very much eosinophilic, made up of lot of cross-sectionals and longitudinal profiles of cardiac muscle cells, is the thick part indicated as myocardium of ventricle. Now they have labeled Purkinje fibers here. And then outside myocardium, there is a connective tissue layer, subepicardial connective tissue, and outside subepicardial connective tissue, there is the simple squamous epithelium labeled as mesothelium. So this mesothelium and subepicardial connective tissue is collectively forming the epicardial layer. So hope you must have gone through this descriptive portion. With this, we are almost finished with the histological description and some micrographic identification of the walls of the heart. What is important, you must have the orientation from where the piece of the micrograph was taken, which side is facing the chamber side and which is the side which is facing the outside of the heart. So this is going to help you to demarcate or differentiate the innermost layer endocardium and the outermost layer epicardium. Between them, it is quite evident that you can easily identify the muscular tissue. So the next part, which is a general introduction of the basic histology of a blood vessel, a typical blood vessel. That blood vessel, we are not going to name it as artery or vein. There are certain modifications in arteries and veins, mostly in vein side from this typical blood vessel histology. But if we look at the blood vessel, it is a tubular structure. So if we talk the tubular structure histology, you must have gone through the basic introductory part of the lecture, which I hope is discussed by Dr. Simon Masood, that the tubular structure in body is made up of four layers, namely the mucosa layer, submucosa, then muscularis externa, and then adventitia or serosa. Here, the nomenclature in blood vessel is different from that tubular organs. It is a tubular organ, and again, here the wall is again made up of three layers. अगर आप इसकी हिस्टोलॉजिकल डिटेल्स को हार्ट की डिटेल्स के साथ कंपेयर करेंगे तो लगभग वही चीज है विद सम exceptions there, but the names in some books, they are the names which are followed by the heart layers are similarly named as we are going to name in blood vessels, but we are going to use the different terminology here, that we are not going to name the three concentric layers of blood vessels on the pattern of heart. We are going to name them we are going to name them differently. If just to give you the basic overview, the innermost layer of a blood vessel which is facing the lumen is named as tunica intima or tunica interna. These are the two terminologies which are regularly used by different texts, tunica intima or tunica interna, towards the lumen. So what you must have understood till now, that in tunica intima you must have an epithelial part. If you have this in your mind at this particular point, you are quite good in your descriptive portion. Whenever the luminal side is present in a blood vessel, it must have an epithelial covering there. So tunica intima must have a one part which is should have to be made up of some type of epithelium, and that epithelium is same wherever you are going to go in cardiovascular system. Name will be same as endothelium. What is that epithelium? Simple squamous epithelium that must be facing the luminal side of a blood vessel. The next, below epithelium, there must have to be some part of connective tissue. That connective tissue is named as subendothelial connective tissue. As it is below endothelium, this layer is named as subendothelial connective tissue. And then at the border area of tunica intima, from with the next tunic. Tunic is actually a layer, word indicated a layer. At the border area between tunica intima and next tunic, there is a band of continuous elastic fibers, which is termed as internal elastic lamina. Lamina is a small layer, tunic is a word used for large layer, and lamina is a layer. To give you the basic understanding, lamina is a layer which is quite smaller. It is abbreviated as IEL, internal elastic lamina. Then moving towards the next layer, which is tunica media, and with reference to heart, the middle layer was muscular layer. So here, tunica media is also muscular. What type of muscles are there? Now here comes the difference. In heart, the middle layer was having cardiac muscle cells, but blood vessels have smooth muscle fibers, which are arranged in concentric layers around the long axis of the blood vessels. Interspread between smooth muscles, there is a very variable amount of elastic and reticular fibers. So, in different blood vessels, there will be a variation in the amount of smooth muscles versus the amount of elastic fibers. Somewhere you will find more elastic fibers, somewhere you will find more smooth muscle fibers. We will discuss this in the next practical. But again, in tunica media border, where it is attached with the next layer, there you will find a band of elastic fibers, which is labeled as external elastic lamina. EEL is the abbreviation which is used for this lamina. But to give you a basic concept, in most of the blood vessels, the internal elastic lamina is more prominently developed, more conspicuous than the external elastic lamina. Then the outermost layer of blood vessel is always connective tissue, and that connective tissue layer is termed as tunica adventitia or tunica externa. Externa, the outermost or external layer. And wherever the blood vessel is traveling, is it traveling with along the muscles? You must have gone through the muscular identification in previous anatomy labs in semester 1. So there, if you have identified a blood vessel, so that blood vessel's connective tissue outermost layer, tunica adventitia, was attaching this layer as connective tissue name indicated, it is going to connect. So this connective tissue layer is attaching this blood vessel with the surrounding structure. Either it is a muscle or either is it an organ with which the blood vessel is traveling in the body. And there is a very interesting concept here that the blood vessels which are have very thick walls, the larger blood vessels like the kinds of aorta, vena cavas, and their middle branches, their walls are that much thick that the blood which is traveling within the lumen, if it is oxygenated in the case of arteries, is not going to nourish all the walls component. So they require their own blood vessel supply. So there is a Latin word, vasa vasorum, vessels of vessels. This means that the blood vessels which are supplying the wall of a blood vessel. So these are the tiny blood vessels which are present mostly in most of the cases in tunica adventitia, but in some cases they can travel deep in tunica media as well. So these larger blood vessels have their own blood supply. The wall of those blood vessels have their own wall supply. So now we are going to look at these three layers: tunica intima, tunica media, and tunica adventitia or externa, one by one in a schematic diagram. A very good schematic diagram. I have taken this from an online PPT to give you the basic idea about the three layers. So this is a complete wall of a blood vessel, very thick, made up of three layers. So the first layer indicated by this two arrowheads line has tunica intima. So the first layer of tunica intima is always simple squamous epithelium, tightly attached with the tight junctions, endothelium. And you must have gone through this concept which is coming now, that wherever the epithelium is, it is underlined by a non layer which is the non-living basal layer, basal lamina or basement membrane. Below basement membrane, there is some endothelial connective tissue, and then there is a very conspicuous band of elastic fiber which is fenestrated. Fenestrated means it have opening, but the openings are evident more on the other side, which is external elastic lamina, but this band is indicating the border area between the first layer and the middle layer. This is internal elastic lamina. It is fenestrated sheet. Fenestration means openings. So there are a lot of openings in this sheet of elastic fibers. Why these fenestrations or openings are present? Because they provide a way in for the nourishment. If the oxygenated blood is traveling towards the luminal side of a blood vessels, that fenestration is going to provide a passageway. And then it is again the border area between the tunica intima and separating this first layer with the from the next layer, which is tunica media. Now moving towards the middle layer, must have gone through the previous part that the middle layer is made up of smooth muscles and elastic fibers. So the middle layer, which is comparatively thick in certain blood vessels, it is made up of smooth muscles, connective tissue, and then the connective tissue have lots of elastic fibers, where you can find that it is a connective tissue component. There could be some collagen fibers, reticular fibers, and the glycoproteins which are forming the third component, the media where the connective tissue is present. And then at the border area between the media and next layer, which is external, there is the external elastic lamina layer formed by a band of elastic fibers. There, you must have identified this as a fenestration, fenestrated sheet of elastic fibers. But what is important, this is not that much conspicuous in actual micrograph, as we are going to identify the internal elastic lamina. It is comparatively thinner, less conspicuous, but present at the border area which separates the tunica media from the externa. So moving towards the last layer, which on this schematic diagram, tunica adventitia, they are in this basically description what I have found from net. They are discussing about the connective tissue component which is present in tunica intima and tunica adventitia. It is collagen fibers which are present there, and basically in these outermost layers, there you can find the vessels which are supplying the wall cells of these blood vessels with nourishment. These two circles can be named as vasa vasorum. These can be an arterial part or venal part. Actual micrograph. So here we have a micrograph which is taken from this square and displayed upside down. So here you can easily identify a thin layer of simple squamous epithelial cells at tunica intima. Below tunica intima as endothelium, simple squamous epithelium as part of tunica intima, and and that is present on this arrow as well. Here you have a very clear cut basement membrane, and below basement membrane there is a wider layer of connective tissue. What would be the name? Subendothelial connective tissue? Oh, correct. If you have this in your mind, so you are going recalling the previous information correctly. And then just look at this band of elastic fibers, which is evident here, very much evident here. This evidence of a band of elastic fiber as a border area between the first layer and the middle layer is labeled as internal elastic lamina, indicated by this arrowhead. Then comes the middle layer, which is very muscular in this case. There is a specific type of artery which is more muscular, but in between them, if you look at the details, you can find certain wavy patterns, wavy patterns, bands between them. One just like here at the arrowhead. These are elastic fibers. The media is made up of mostly muscular, smooth muscles and elastic fibers. There could be some radicular collagen fibers as well. But no, just look at there is a very clear cut demarcation between all the three layers, tunica, intima, media, and then adventitia. Now just look at the border of adventitia and media. Less conspicuous than this internal elastic lamina, but you can still identify a band of elastic fiber indicated by this arrowhead. What would be the name? If you are recalling it as or calling it as external elastic lamina, very true. So this is the border area between media and intima. So next comes the outermost layer, which is a connective tissue layer, which is quite evident from the thick collagen fibers, which are irregularly placed, loosely arranged, lots of gap between them, loose connective tissue. And this is basically the outermost layer, which is attaching these blood vessels wherever they are traveling inside the body. Now just look at your hand. If you are identifying certain blood vessels, so these blood vessels are actually present in the dermis component, and the dermal connective tissue is adjacent to the tunica adventitia of this blood vessel. If you are looking at your hand blood vessels, evident from the back of the palm or back side of the hand. So with this description, now we are almost finished with the descriptive portion. Just to give you basic identification, here you have a blood vessels which is present in its cross section. Here it is a lumen, and lumen have lots of blood cells, and most of these are the RBCs. But we are not more concerned with the blood cells here, but we are more concerned that what are the three layers. So if you are identifying the three layers yourself by these three arrowheads, so you are going good in the identification part, or you are going to attempt these layers quite easily in your homework sheets. So now just look at this first layer, the endothelial cells here. Then we have a small amount of connective tissue, subendothelial connective tissue, and then we have a very conspicuous elastic band bordering this first layer from the middle layer. What would be the name? Internal elastic lamella. True. And then we have the middle layer, very thick here in this particular blood vessels, where you have lots of smooth muscles, and between them you have lots of elastic fiber. But in this micrograph, what is quite evident that you can easily distinguish between the three layers. The first layer, tunica intima, then the middle layer, tunica media, and then the outermost connective tissue have lots of collagen fibers in it. This is true tunica adventitia. And I'm just trying to locate a blood vessel so you can have the idea where you can find the vasa vasorum in tunica adventitia. I am unable to identify anyone here. So now moving towards the third practical, I'm not going to describe it, but just to give you the idea of the vasa vasorum. No, just look at this part. Very true. In tunica adventitia of a particular blood vessel, which we are going to discuss in third practical, there is a blood vessel which is having RBCs in it. So this is vasa vasorum. I will try to locate some other one as well. No, they are present in your worksheet. Very clear cut demarcation. So with this, we are finished with this second practical. Oh, locate here. Just look at this tunica adventitia tab. These blood vessels. These are vasa vasorums. I was trying to give you one example, real micrographic example, so I found. So with this, we finish this video on the end where we have to start the third practical. We are where we are going to identify the arterial side and venal side and the differences and the types of the blood vessels in the arterial side and in the vein sides. This would be the our objective for the third practical. So you have to follow the chapter present as cardiovascular system in the forehead, and in the end of this third practical you will find certain online resources. I have given their URLs there, and then working on your worksheet you will be able to identify covering the components yourself. So with this we finished with this the meeting. From my side, it's Allah Hafiz.